Welcome to Education 101 with your host, Eric Wolfram. Education 101 is about the amazing education community we have in the Greater Spokane area. We highlight the outstanding programs, teachers, supporters, and opportunities of the education community in the Spokane region. Education 101 is brought to you in part by STCU. Here's Eric.
And welcome to Education 101. I'm your host, Eric Wolfram. Excited about the conversation today. We're going to be talking about Greater Minds. And with me, I've got Jody Strout from GSI. And Jody is the Education Attainment Navigator.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. And then we've got Yolanda Collins as well, who is a Spokane County clerk. And Yolanda is in the program. And so we get to hear her story as well. So I'm very excited about this conversation, mainly because I work on the K-12 side, which we talked about.
Yep.
And then there's the higher ed piece, and then there's these other programs that we don't really get to talk about on the education side, and they're great programs out there. So I'm excited to learn more about it today, and that's really what it's going to be a cool part of the conversation. So Greater Minds is the program, right?
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about, let's start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning. What is it and why do we exist? No.
Yeah.
So Greater Minds, we're an initiative of Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Okay.
And so our focus is a collaboration of both business, higher education, and community partners to really support our working adults in identifying opportunities of returning back to school.
Great.
So we have 86,000 individuals in Spokane County with some college but no degree. And we know that our workforce is continually changing, and we need to be able to support those employees in identifying what those opportunities are to upskill.
Great. How long has this been around?
So we launched officially in January of 2017.
Okay, so 2 years.
2 years or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Because 86,000, you said?
86,000.
And I'm assuming that's your target.
That is.
Are those people that have some college
And no degree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a
and
lot.
that's huge.
It is.
So,
yeah. Our kind of an overarching goal is to increase education attainment from 40% to 60% by 2025.
Excellent.
And so Spokane County is currently at 43.2% right now.
Okay.
And that's for individuals with at least an associate's degree or higher.
Okay.
We can estimate that another 7% of individuals have a high level or high quality certification, but unfortunately there's, at this point in time, no way to really track all of that. So if we do 43 plus the 7, we're almost there. We're halfway there. So
Absolutely.
we're at that 50%.
That's great.
So
That's
yeah.
great. What kind of programs are you seeing? What are we seeing people to go into, and what do you see for the types of jobs and degrees that they're going after?
It really varies. We work specifically with employer partners, but then we're also open and available to the public. So we have right now currently 14 business partners, all the way from healthcare. Chaz just has recently joined us.
Good.
To Spokane County. We're working with employees, financial institutions, STCU, Numerica, public schools, Spokane Public Schools, our other school districts. So I run the gamut of information base. So our goal is really for Greater Minds to be a neutral location for individuals to come and get information on what programs are available to them. Making sure that they fit their personal needs, also hopefully their employers' needs as well, as we're looking at developing our workforce, and then finding that best fit. It's very intimidating for an adult to search around for different programs, having to make multiple phone calls to different institutions, not knowing what door to open.
Right.
In the K-12 system, there's a career counselor available for that, but as an adult, we don't necessarily have that.
Absolutely.
And so really just trying to be that resource, student-centered approach to help them identify those opportunities.
Excellent. So. You mentioned a lot of partners in this. Are you finding that it's those businesses and those partners, it's the people within those agencies, if you will, that are reaching out and starting to go through this and getting support from their employers, or?
It is. We're all so we work directly, as I mentioned, with our employer partners, but we're also open to the public as well. And so we really right now are really relying on word of mouth and referrals from others, but then specifically with the HR departments helping us spread the word to their employees.
Right.
And just really making sure that education attainment is part of kind of the daily conversation, or hopefully, within the businesses of promoting that next step, that next educational opportunity.
Right. Yolanda, so you're in the program.
Yes, I am.
Right. And you're at Spokane County at the Superior Court, right, as a clerk there. How did you find out about this?
I found out through our county email.
Okay.
And I just saw the email that stated, would you like to go back to school? Did you ever finish your degree? And I was like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect. And it said, call Jody. And I did. And I set up an appointment with her. We had coffee. And I told her, I almost finished graduating. I just failed one math class. And then years went by. Years went by. And it was that math class that held me back. And, I just needed that degree in my hand to continue. And she navigated me on the right path. She contacted the counselor at SCC, and we got things rolling. And she helped me with the paperwork. And I was able to get back into school to finish that one math class.
That one class, yes.
And finally, I got that piece of paper, and that piece of paper helped me enter into Whitworth.
Oh, really?
Into their program. And I'm what they call the Upside Down program, where you go in as junior status.
Okay.
So I am enrolled in the Public Service Administration, working on my BA.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Because that one math class got you into, I'm assuming, your AA degree. And I'm making assumptions here, so if I'm wrong, tell me.
Paralegal AA.
Okay, yeah. So now you're at Whitworth working on bachelor's. That's so cool.
Yes.
All because of one math class.
That
blows my mind every time, because your story is not uncommon.
Not at all.
And when I started at the ESD, I was the math coordinator. And so I've heard that a lot. And so that's, so congratulations, number one. That's so exciting for you. So, Jody, Yolanda, you heard through email. Is Spokane County one of the partners then?
They are, yes.
Okay, and so essentially was the idea that your partner, one of the things as a partner we'd like you to do is send this out, throughout your organization. Is
Absolutely.
that kind of how it works?
So we have a kind of a series, but so it usually starts with an education attainment survey that is sent out through the employers to kind of gauge what the level of interest of returning to school is, what is the current education attainment. And then based off of kind of the results from that survey from the employees, we really can customize kind of what that looks like for each business.
Wow.
So I do a lot of lunch and learn opportunities, a lot of email advertising kind of with Spokane County, 2,000 plus employees. It's really hard to bring everyone together in one place. But really then being available for one-on-one appointments. So I have office hours on a monthly basis, specifically at Spokane County. And so I'm there on the third Tuesday from 11 to 1.
All right.
But then also on other employers, it's more individuals contacting me directly. I drink a lot of coffee.
Yes.
Spend a lot of time at coffee shops, meeting with people. Just meeting people where they're at to get the information that they need to make the best decisions.
Okay. I'm going to come back to 86,000 again, because that's your
number.
audience. It is a big number. Where are you at now?
So right now we have a little over 600 individuals in our system who have outreached to some level of interest of returning to school and receiving navigational services. And so typically on average, it does take an individual anywhere between 3 to 6 months to actually engage in a true process of returning to school. And so I have individuals who have reached out once to individuals like Yolanda who are back enrolled and doing really well, moving along, and everyone in between. Everyone's journey is different.
Sure.
And so making sure that we're meeting them where they need. So.
How long did your journey take to say, yes, I'm doing this?
Oh,
from that email that you got? To
it was from the email, and when I sat down with Jody for the first time, and how she's like, what are your goals? What do you want out of this? And she just laid it all out, because I had this fear. I was like, I'm so busy, you know, I'm working like 2 full-time jobs and I don't get much sleep already. And I'm like, I can't do this. I don't have time. But then I made time for it. And, you know, I still to this day, I don't sleep very much. I drink a lot of coffee.
I was going to say, drink a lot of coffee too, right? Yeah.
But it'll pay off in the end.
It will. That's great. That's great. You said 600 people at this point who have made some contact. How many are in school right now?
Yeah, so around 70 is all of our information is student self-reported. So in our system we have about 70, but once an individual is off and running and they're working with their advisor, it's hard to get them sometimes to kind of step back and report back to us, but so I'm pretty excited with the numbers that we've been able to show.
That's great. You're always looking for new partners, right?
Absolutely.
Is that kind of, especially on the business side and just getting the word out there for public as well?
Yes.
How does a new partner get a hold of you? What's the process? How do you know, the ESD? How would we become partner?
Contact GSI.
Yeah,
come on board. No, so we have a website, greatermindspokane.org.
Okay.
So pretty simple there, and we have all kinds of information both for our employer partners or individuals who are thinking about becoming partners, how they could be supporting their employees. Whether that's through an official education attainment policy, we can help review those or help develop if there's not one in place.
Okay.
Looking at not only the financial tuition assistance, but then also flexible work schedule, use of technology, those types of things. Because a lot of our local businesses are either small or medium, and so they may not be able to support them financially, but if they can provide some flexibility, potentially, depending on the business, of course, we can help kind of evaluate those opportunities
and see if it's actually a possibility to be able to do that from there. Yeah. That's great. I tell you what, let's take a quick break, okay? And then why don't we come back and talk more about Greater Minds? So we'll be right back on Education 101.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
I'm Jade Becker, and I'm a senior at Chewelah High School. I'm at STCU's Money Live event. In this scenario that we played today, I was a realtor. My spouse was a city worker. We had an 11-month-old child, and there was a lot of spending for that child, like diapers and formula, and had to buy toys and clothing. I'm very glad that I had this experience. It was super helpful. You need this to get far and ahead in life. I'm Jade Becker, and STCU is here for good.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler Attorneys.
And welcome back to Education 101, talking about Greater Minds. So, Yolanda, I'm going to jump over to you because let's hear your story. You know, we know that you got the opportunity to do the Greater Minds piece, right? And so get yourself back in school. We know that you're at Whitworth now, working on your bachelor's, which is exciting. But during the break, you mentioned something that this is a program that changes people's lives. And you were kind of talking about that, and I would love our viewers to be able to hear what you were saying.
Yes, it changed my life, and every day is a new day. I've struggled since I've been here in Spokane. For some reason, it's being a single parent, always struggling to make sure you can take care of your family and yourself. And I've always had to work 2 or 3 jobs, and it becomes very difficult. And my health started deteriorating, and it was just one thing after the other. And I started delving into a black hole that I couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
And even though like I love all of my jobs, I still could not make enough to survive, and living paycheck to paycheck, it's a struggle. So my light at the end of the tunnel is going back to school. Education is freedom. And it's power to lift yourself out of that situation. And one person I truly admire is my father. He retired out of the Air Force, and he was working 2 jobs. He had a young family and a pregnant daughter. I was married. And I saw my dad working hard, going through school, and he obtained his degree, and he's still out there working for the government in Europe. And hopefully I'll be seeing them soon again in Germany. So I just, that set a precedent and an example. Like, if my dad could do that, so can I. And I was very unsure at first, but again, when I sat down with Jody, she instilled in me hope. And what they're doing to help people, like, you can change your life at any moment, every day, make it a brand new day. And that's what I'm doing my best to achieve. And do I break down and cry every once in a while? Oh, yes. Let me tell you. I'll call my parents. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm trying to stay positive, but it's really hard, you know? But it's good to have little meltdowns, but then it's just like, okay, brush yourself off and stand up and just keep going. Yeah,
Absolutely. What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for my BA in Public Service Administration.
And so what are you going to do with that?
With that, I would love to be a probation counselor at Spokane Juvenile Courts, and just being a part of helping children and their families. And again, you gain so much from helping others. I've done a lot of volunteer work with helping a lot of people in our community that are homeless for the last 5 or 6 years with great nonprofits, and just helping them helped me, because I realized, like, no matter how hard it gets, it could be worse, and just to be grateful for every moment that we have.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that, you know, and we started it off at the beginning, and you mentioned it in the during the break, that this program saves lives. Right, is kind of what you said.
Yes,
I mean,
that's a big weight.
It is a big. I know.
It does. It's saving mine.
Yeah.
Well, and it saves yours. But then again, I'm an education guy, so bear with me on this. But I truly do make the connection that, you know, you getting educated and you having that, following that dream to be able to be a probation counselor, right, means that you're going to be helping other lives as well. And so, it saves your life, but I think it also affects, in a positive way, many, many, many other lives too. So, I mean, I think that's very commendable. So pretty exciting to be able to see. And that's got to be great for your program to think about. That's the kind of things that we're doing.
Absolutely.
You know? So.
Children who live in a household where the adult has gone back to school is 3 times more likely to go to higher education themselves. And so I think that also plays into a lot of Yolanda's kind of experience and what she is going to be doing when she's working with those students in the juvenile court. Just really setting that example that it is possible to go back to school, whether it worked the first time right out of high school or not. Making that commitment and showing that it is possible. It's tough and it's hard and it's moments of breakdown, but
you do.
It is possible,
Absolutely.
even if it's one class at a time.
Oh yes. We all have
I was going to say, we all
There's
have
no
those
doubt
moments.
About it. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thinking about getting people back into the school system, like you said, Yolanda, it's challenging. You know, there's an excitement in the beginning, but then it gets challenging, and we have the ups and downs. And again, it could be my education side when I say it's exciting in the beginning, but what kind of roadblocks have you found, in people not going back? Yeah, whether you've initiated the conversation or even out there with our 86,000, is it, oh no, I don't want to do a math class because I haven't done it for how many years, or are there other roadblocks that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, a lot of individuals feel that they don't have the time to go back to school, and they don't have the financial resources to return to school.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what I do is help to identify, especially on the time piece, looking for programs that potentially could fit their schedule. So we have a lot of great programs like Whitworth that's in the evening. Eastern has night programs as well. Community College has online evening during the day. WGU is going to be available, 100% online.
Yeah.
And so being able to find flexibility in programs that they may not be aware exist. But then on the financial piece, we really work to help promote completion of the FAFSA as an adult.
Absolutely.
Individuals, I don't want to take more loans. We have this loan crisis happening in the U.S., which it's a whole nother Education 101 segment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But really just kind of, being informative on what the options are, utilizing any tuition assistance programs through their employer. Scholarships are huge. Everyone thinks scholarships are just for 18-year-olds, but they're not. There's a lot that are available for individuals who are, later returning to school. Non-traditional.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's, millions of dollars that go unawarded every year. So it's a matter of really taking the time and the effort to find those scholarships and apply.
Yeah, seeing that piece in itself is a great program. You mentioned earlier, it's like K-12 has that, the counselors to help with this, and you get to kind of act as that along the way. Yeah. I think that financial piece, and Yolanda, you mentioned the whole idea that, you've got some grants and you're working on scholarships, haven't gotten any yet, but are not giving up on those. But I could see that. And that's a learning for me. I didn't realize those scholarships were out there.
Yep,
again,
absolutely.
My perspective is K-12, and so
I always tell people, as long as it doesn't say graduating senior or 18-year-old and you meet all of the qualifications, there's no reason that you and your child shouldn't both be applying for that scholarship.
Absolutely. So that's great. Absolutely. That's great. On the time piece, going through, thinking through, there are a lot of different options, and it sounds like you really get to dig into the weeds on what options are out there.
Absolutely.
So I know you mentioned WGU is all online, and there are a lot of the night programs as well. Yeah. It's almost like having a second job, I bet. Going through some of those. Third job, second, third job. Absolutely. So, but it's one that's going to pay off in the long run.
It is. And also it influences people around you in a good way. Like my daughter, for example, that's waiting in there.
Yes.
She is going to Eastern working on her bachelor. She's actually ahead of me. And then my son was in the running start and 16. And it's just like education opens doors.
It does.
I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. And again, of course, I'm biased in that sense because I really do think that, and that's why I'm in the field, because I truly believe in that. So, which is pretty exciting to be able to see that, your daughter and your other family members are kind of doing that same thing, and you're right on there with them. You can share some of those breakdown moments with them. Yes. Is really what it comes down to, right?
Indeed. Family study time.
Yes, and that's what we do too. We'll do that.
Which is great. Is great. What else do we need to know about the program?
We are available for anyone who's interested, whether they are part of one of our employer partners or just out in the general public.
Right.
I'm more than happy to have a conversation. It may be the right fit now, or it might be the right fit 6 months for now. But we want to make sure that we're serving the individual and making sure that everything that we do is just student-centered, getting them the information that they need to make the best decision.
Right. And I keep coming back to that 86,000, which is a big number around this area, but I think the other thing is the jobs are there too.
Absolutely.
I think that's a piece that the times that I've worked with GSI, we talk about that a lot, from how do we make a pipeline
Absolutely.
for the K-12 side. But then I think this is a great program to say, how do we start to find the people that are in our community that we can help get back to it and fill those jobs, because they need to be filled.
Yep. 75% of all jobs will require some type of post-secondary education. And so really being able to look at what those job openings are and looking at what opportunities we have to get those individuals back into those jobs are so important.
What's the website again?
It is greatermindsspokane.org.
And they can find that through GSI as well, right?
Absolutely.
Greater Spokane Incorporated. So, Jody, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing the whole idea of Greater Minds. And Yolanda, congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
So we'll catch you next time on Education 101.
Education 101 is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Education 101 is brought to you by our friends at STCU. Ask Eric a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.